Howdy, it's your boy TN Smooth, and I'm back with another video today. Today we're going to be doing the Week 13 college football playoff rankings. This is, of course, my ranking, so this is my opinion on what I think. If you think I'm wrong or you disagree or whatever, comment down below why and how you think I'm wrong. Also, make sure you like, subscribe, and follow for more content just like this. Be releasing this weekly now for the rest of the year, so of course you got this week, you got next week, and then you got after the conference championship games. So I'm going to go and throw this up on the board here. So this is my Week 13 college football playoff rankings. I'll go ahead and say 25 through 20. You got Clemson at 25. You got you got Tennessee at 24. You got Liberty at 23. NC State at 22. Kansas State at 21 and Tulane at 20, and I'm going to go ahead and throw the rest up here on the board right now. So this is of course my Week 13 college football playoff ranking. Like I said, 25 Clemson. They played good football for the year. At first they started off rocky, they bounced back, and I think they've come back strong. I'm not going to spend much time until I get in the top 10 explaining why they're at this rank they are. But at 24, you got Tennessee. They've played okay. They could potentially even be out of the top 25. And if you put them out of the top 25, honestly, I don't disagree with that. They've played okay, but they haven't won games that they should have won. Really, their only losses this year should be Bama and should be Georgia. That's it. 23, Liberty. Liberty's 11-0. They've been playing good ball. I know that they play in a different conference. They don't have the same resume that somebody like Alabama or Texas or Georgia does, but they're 11-0, and you can't deny it. So I put them at 23. 22 NC State. I believe they've been playing pretty good ball lately. Haven't kept up with them a whole lot, but the record speaks for itself, and they're not horrible right now. You got Kansas State. In the college football playoff ranking for the committee, they have them at 19. I don't see them in the top 20, so I've put them at 21. You get Tulane. They have a pretty good record recently. Looks like they're currently at 10-1. So, I mean, I know that they had a good year last year. Tyjae Spears, they had him. He's in the NFL now, so they've been having a couple good years. They're at 23 in the college football committee rankings. No, I see them in the top 20. I put them at 20. Oklahoma State, they're at 19. They've been playing pretty good ball. They had an upset win over Oklahoma. They've been playing pretty good. So I got them at number they're number 20 in the college football playoff ranking. I got them at 19. Notre Dame is at 18. That's exactly where they are in the college football playoff committee rankings. They're 8-3. They've lost games that they should have won. They should have beat Ohio State, in my opinion. I mean, it's just a lot of losses they should have won. They're kind of in the same position as Tennessee, so I've got them at 18. 17, you got Oregon State. Really could be lower than that. They're currently 8-3, but I don't think they've played the greatest lately. But I do have them at 17. And at 16, I've got Iowa. They've been playing pretty good recently. They're a 9-2 club. 15, Arizona. Arizona's been playing good. Good ball. They're 8-3. Blew out Colorado, and they've had some good wins. So I've got them at 15. 14, I've got Oklahoma. They're at 13, and I've switched them and LSU out. The committee has LSU at 14 and Oklahoma at 13. I put LSU at 13 and Oklahoma at 14. I don't think Oklahoma's as good as they like to say. They are 9-2. They did beat Texas, but I don't think they would hang with any of the top four, really. Maybe Washington, but I don't think that they would hang with 1 through 3 or really even 6 through 7, 5 through 7 if Florida State had Jordan Travis. LSU, they're pretty good. I know that they keep hanging around that teen spot. They keep hanging around the 15, 14, 16, 13, 17 spot. But, I mean, they're good. They're just not there yet. I don't know if Brian Kelly will ever have them there, in my opinion. They're good. They're just not there yet, is all I know to say with them. Jaden Daniels is amazing. If they were 11-0 right now, I think he might be a Heisman contender. But unfortunately, they're not for him. That's unfortunate because he's not a Heisman contender, in my opinion, as of now. Mainly because if a team has just same reason why USC isn't in the top 25, and Caleb Williams isn't in the Heisman. I mean, watch really anymore. I mean, why would he be? Your team is 8-3. I don't think that you should be winning a Heisman at that point unless you're being extreme, like extraordinary, like you're putting insane stats out there. If your team's 8-3, especially at the quarterback position, it doesn't mean that it's your fault, but it's just you're not doing enough to overcome the team's badness. You're not doing enough to win, basically. If the team's 8-3, even if it's something that's happening on defense or something, unless you have insane stats, I'm not saying your team has to be undefeated to win, but I don't think 8-3 is a winning record for one of your players to be on the Heisman watch, unless they have insane stats. Number 12, you got Penn State. Penn State's been playing pretty good ball. They're number 11 in the committee rankings, but I feel like they just can never get over Ohio State or Michigan, and I just feel like that if they were to play someone like Georgia, Alabama, Texas, I don't know if they would hang. So I've got them at 12. Ole Miss, I got at 11. They've been playing okay in the last games. They're 9-2. 10. Starting at 10, you got Louisville. Louisville has been playing pretty good. They've honestly, I did not see that coming when I saw them coming up the rankings, but here they are. They're 10-1. They're gonna have a chance here in college in the conference championship to potentially get even higher than 10. Maybe even finish at 7 or 8, depending on how this goes. Maybe even finish at 6, depending on how all this goes. Number 9, you got Missouri. Missouri, unfortunately, there's no room for them to move up because you've got you've got 1-loss teams in front of you, and you're a 2-loss team, and then you got undefeated teams, and you're not going to the SEC championship. So there's really no room for them to move up, unfortunately. Now they might finish at 8 or 7, depending on how all these conference championships goes. Because if Alabama loses to Georgia, they're probably going to bump down at least a spot or two. Then if Texas loses, they're probably going to bump down. Florida State will bump down if they lose. So, there's a lot of potential for maybe even one of these teams maybe possibly to sneak in. I don't know if they would sneak in from the 9 or 10 spot, but they could finish at 5 or 6 and then get a heck of a bowl game. Number 8, Oregon. I don't think Oregon's as good as people like to say. They're number 6 in the committee rankings. I put them at 8. I think Texas and Alabama both could beat Oregon. 7, you got Alabama. I think Alabama's good, and I think they'll be in the playoffs because I think they're going to beat Georgia. As of now, I've got Georgia at 1, but I think Alabama's going to do it, and I think they're going to be in the playoffs. Number 6, you got Texas. Texas is a good team, and as long as they keep one win on the record, if you put Alabama in, really, in my opinion, I think you have to put Texas in, or else you're saying that the regular season wins don't matter when you go into Bryant-Denny Stadium and beat Bama. Number 5, you got Florida State. Florida State's been playing pretty good. They're, of course, undefeated, 11-0, but they're without their star quarterback now, so we'll see how they do in this next game without him, and then we'll go from there. Number 4, you got Washington. Washington is a pretty good ball club. They're 11-0. Resume isn't the greatest, but they're 11-0. They beat Oregon. I know that. And I think they might actually make the playoffs as long as they keep playing good ball. Ohio State. Now, if you're mad about the Ohio State being at 3 and Georgia being at 2, then just think about it this way. They play this week, so we're going to decide who's 2 and 3. I mean, the loser ain't going to be 3 anymore if it is Ohio State. And if it's Michigan, they're not going to be 3 either. Whoever it is, that's what this game is basically almost like a playoff game, because it's a playoff game to get into the playoffs, essentially. Because you basically have to win this game and really the conference championship to make the playoffs if you're playing in the conference championship. If you lose this game this late in the season, even though you're only going to be 1-loss team, it's going to be hard to bounce back because you're going to fall down to the 6 or 7 range at this point, because you got currently 5 undefeated teams and you've got 3 1-loss teams, and then you got Alabama. If they beat Georgia, you can't really get in over them. They beat the number 1 team and they only have 1 loss, and you have 1 loss, whether it's Michigan or Ohio State. So whenever Ohio State and Michigan come into this week undefeated, it's just like a playoff game. So if you're upset about them being, Ohio State being at 3 and Michigan being at 2, then just look at it this way. I think that Michigan is the better club in my opinion. I think they've played better this season in my opinion. They haven't really had many close games. I think there was one close game that they had, maybe two. I think that Michigan will win. I could be wrong, but just look at it this way: it's going to be settled this week anyway. So this ranking is purely just out there to be out there. It'll be settled this week. And then at 1, you got Georgia. Georgia's been playing good, and they've been the number 1 team in the country for the last 2 years mainly. I mean, they've been moved down a couple times or whatever, but they've been playing pretty good. And I think that they will lose. Of course, they're going to beat Georgia Tech. They're going to be 12-0, but I think that they will lose to Alabama. And I mean, if not, then they stay number 1. I mean, it's that simple. If not, you stay at number 1, and you're in at the number 1 seed. If you lose, you're out, in my opinion. And I mean, there's many different scenarios where they could still be in, but there's also scenarios where they could be out. So the conference championship is going to be like a playoff game too. I don't think Alabama's going to lose to Auburn, but maybe there's more of a potential for Alabama to get upset by Auburn than there is for Georgia Tech to upset Georgia. But it's college football. Anybody can win any game, really. So if Georgia loses to Bama, I don't think that they'll be in, unfortunately. Especially if Michigan or Ohio State, whoever wins that game, that's already 1 spot. Washington, as long as they keep winning, that's 1 spot. Florida State, if they keep winning, that's probably 1 spot. And then the other spot really would be Alabama and maybe Texas. They might swap someone out for Texas, but then I don't see how you put Georgia in because they've already lost to Bama. So it's going to be really interesting to see how they do it. But that's my Week 13 college football playoff rankings. Let me know down below what you think. Thank you for tuning in, and I will see you guys next week.